It worked. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Travis here, Edge Radio Australia, all the way from BlueSkyFactory.com. We got Derek Whittaker on my right. I think it looks like on the left on the screen. I'm dribbling crap so Aaron can check the microphones. So, Derek, we've got a massive show coming up. I've just caused havoc on the social medias promoting the page. So let's deliver a massive and awesome show. Should we get right into it?
Absolutely. Today I'm looking at 5 things to watch for this year because it will have a flow-on effect to people's finances, either directly or indirectly, depending on which way things go. I want to put things in context before we dive into that, though. Let's have a look at this first video where basically this whole aspect, this strategy of getting America out of debt and going that way has kind of taken a different route than the president was hoping for.
I think a lot of things took a different route to what he was planning. So.
Well, it's interesting, those trying to knock him and pull him back and this sort of stuff. Obviously, he did a massive amount of tariffs back in 2025 that was getting everybody on the hop and was affecting the gold markets and silver markets because people were like, well, we're going to bring that gold back into the United States in case he puts tariffs on it and all that sort of thing. And then other factors I won't go into too complex right now, but in July, he, of course, has announced a new round of global tariffs on 60 countries because the Supreme Court basically said you can't do that on the initial ones under that legal battle that was ensuing. What's crazy about it is that the US taxpayer has then had to refund a lot of those tariffs back to these companies, and these companies haven't suffered. They still made sales, right? But the taxpayer, who was the one who was buying this stuff and receiving tariffs, having to pay that tax, didn't get the refund. The refund has actually gone to these companies. So it's quite crazy how that's playing out. And so what you've got now is Trump pushing for more of these, and at least 25 states have sued the Trump administration to try to block the new tariffs, the new round, the state-level legal action, following a separate lawsuit filed by the Liberty Justice Center, a legal non-for-profit. So it's really interesting how this is going. However, I still think that Trump is going to keep pushing and steamrolling this through. Take a look at this video.
All right, let's bring it up. So that's the tariffs video, correct?
Yeah.
On my favorite word, I love tariffs. They're my favorite word in the dictionary, tariff. I love tariffs, right? Because we've been screwed by tariffs used against us for years by China, by Japan, by South Korea, by Germany, by everybody, by Canada. Canada's nasty. They're nasty. People think Canada, they're nasty. I love the people, but they're nasty. Nasty leadership. And Mexico, they all did it to us. But now that doesn't work anymore because we turned the table on everybody, and that's why you're seeing numbers like you've never seen before. This week, as an example, it was announced that manufacturing is exploding at the fastest pace in many years. Nobody thought this would ever happen again. Do you remember, did you ever hear of a man named Barack Hussein Obama? He said, we will never be a manufacturing country again. And he meant it. He meant it. It was pathetic what had happened. Our businesses were stolen by foreign countries. They're all coming back. They're coming roaring back. More automobile factories are being built in the United States right now than at any time in the history of our country. Think of that. We didn't have a plant built for years, and now we have more plants. They're all coming back from Germany, from South Korea, from Japan, from Canada, and from Mexico, from all over. They're coming back because if they don't, they have to pay massive tariffs at the gate. I call them tariffs at the gate. But it is true, I was criticized very badly because I said it was my favorite word. They said, what about God? What about wife? Family, what about all of the things that make your life so wonderful? So I moved it to my 5th favorite word, and now, no, the press was...
I'm glad to hear he's getting his priorities right, yeah? Getting them in the right order. It's just classic. It's classic comedy. He knows how to work a crowd.
So I have to admit, when I first saw that video clip, I was like, his hair's facing the wrong way. It's like, is that him or is it an AI-generated video? But you've seen him do that hand thing, and like, the tariffs in our manufacturing figures are so great, better than the rest of the world. I was like, yeah, that's Trump. And then when he turned to the side, he stuck his chin out, like sort of thing. So yeah, no, that was him. He's just having a bad hair day. So
it happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Look, I think
that's why I wear the hat. Awesome.
I think what's really interesting about this is what's coming off that. So you can see him wanting to get manufacturing, wanting to get investment in the United States. And that's something that is boosting our economy. Now, it's to the world's benefit if America does well, because it's the biggest economy of the world. What's threatening this is the Japanese carry trade, which is a really interesting sort of scenario. For those who don't know what that is, what it is for years, for decades, Japan has had almost zero interest on its yen and borrowing it. And so it
has been also negative interest as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like what they call the cheapest money on earth. You actually get into debt, borrow the Japanese yen, use that money elsewhere to get investments that, let's say it's making you 5%, you're borrowing on 1%, you get a 4% cut in between, right? That's the big trade that's been going on. But here is the problem. And I've been saying to my students for a long time now, keep your eye on Japan, keep your eye on Japan, because Japan is drowning in debt, in government debt. And you've got the aging population in Japan as well, which is a big concern because those people aren't able to work and be productive and manufacture like Trump's been talking about.
I love the way Japan deals with the elderly, but that's for another show.
Sure. And then they've got enormous pension obligations as well going into that with the aging population. They've had years of pain from the collapsing yen. And so what's happening now is the Bank of Japan is pushing pension funds to load up on Japanese assets instead of the foreign ones and bring it all back. Now, with that going on, you've got situations where if they raise the interest rates on the yen, these people who have been leveraging it and borrowing it like cheapest money on earth now suddenly have got to balance the books and start selling assets off elsewhere to bring that interest back in. The risk there is that they start a stock market collapse, because if people have borrowed on the borrowings, which is possible with brokerage accounts, it's possible with doing that with bank and high-end finance, up to 30 times in some situations, sometimes more.
I have been stung with that one personally. So yes, it does happen.
It can have a big amplified effect on that. And that's the big concern here with the Japanese. So just recently, the United States bought a whole bunch of the Japanese yen, and he was asked, Trump, on a plane behind the scenes by one of the journalists, why did you do that? Have a listen to what he has to say.
Financial benefit. Financial benefit. It's also good for the world economy. But we make, like when we did with Argentina, I got criticized, we made $25 billion on that deal. On Venezuela, we make hundreds of billions of dollars. I make good deals. Intel, I made $75 billion for the country. I didn't make for me, I made for the country. Intel, I backed Intel. It's the hottest stock right now on the New York stock, on the various stock exchanges. So we made about 75 to 80 billion dollars. Japan wanted to. It was really more than anything else. It was a signal of friendship.
You said
because the yen is weakening and the dollar is doing great.
You said
the fact is, our country is doing great. Everybody wants help from our country.
You said the Intel weapon is. I'm with ABC News.
So you can hear Trump's motivation. He's selling the US dollar there, wanting to help out Japan. And, you know, Japan and the US are getting on really well right now. Their prime minister is very, very...
They're cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, they're tight. And that's been... I laugh because some of Trump's references to the Second World War have been quite amusing in those diplomatic relations. Like, don't mention the war.
We've great relations. We won't mention Pearl Harbor, but we've had great relations all the time. We're like, wow.
They've been fun to watch.
Notice how you didn't mention the two sons.
But in all of that, you can see the economic influence that's going on here. Now, turn to Australia.
Oh, hang on. Before that, because there's also a geopolitical aspect of what's happening in Japan as well. And I think I did touch on this in a previous video. But you got to remember, the biggest military threat to America is actually China. So if shit hits the fan, sorry about the swearing, if poop hits the fan over Taiwan, America has to come in, Japan has to come in, and it'll be all versus potentially China and Russia, because Russia will probably back China in that sort of situation. So it is in America's best interest. The closest ally that they have to China is to be as strong as possible. And something you also probably don't know, America is also pumping a heap of money into Vietnam as well. So what's happening, Vietnam's on sort of like the South west coast of China. You got Japan off the coast. They've got an amazing relationship with South Korea at the moment to help boost their defenses against North Korea. So that whole section, all of China's ability to get out has been stifled that way. India's doing a great job on the other side of the country as well. And obviously you got Russia to the north, so there's not much you can do there. So it's not only just an economical front, it's also a military front as well. That's why they're putting so much effort onto making sure they maintain a great relationship with Japan.
And that comment about Vietnam that you said, I'm not surprised to hear that at all, because we know that China has been forming a lot of relationships within the the Asian region. And
Oh, they're
islands in the
pissing a
Pacific,
lot of people off too.
and also in Africa as well. And so they've been courting them, whereas the United States now is strategically starting to move into those spaces as well.
Yep.
Because we're talking about trade lines here, and moving boats from A to B is very, very important. We've seen, of course, the effect of when you can't get it out of a Gulf.
Also, when they blocked the ship that got stuck in one of the transit routes, and how much drama that caused as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah, shipping is still extremely important. As good as our technology on movements and all that happens, we still need ships. We still need the boats. And as a lot of the social media people say, do not touch American boats.
What's really interesting too, so if there is a bit of a global shake-up over the Japanese yen and markets start doing what they do, how could this affect Australia? Well, Australia's in a really interesting position. What we're seeing is a slowdown in the housing market. Realtors are talking to me about
I don't know
this.
if there's a slowdown. There's a full brakes, but yeah.
Yeah, the brakes are on. It wasn't as hot as it was before. And lending, Westpac is reporting that lending is being reduced as far as investment properties are concerned. Not a surprise to hear that, given the Jim Chalmers declarations at the budget back in, I think it was May, of what they expected moving forward in the housing market.
Yep. So something I do have to note there, it's not the Westpac is saying, oh, we're not lending. It's the applications are just not coming in.
Correct.
There's no demand in that market. There's no appetite for investment properties into Australia. And what's happening is massively dying down. I don't think he had any idea of how much of an impact this was going to have, because as much as I love ripping into the Labor Party, he really should have looked what happened in the 80s when they did the same thing. Rents went through the roof. House prices went in the gurgle.
It clearly has not been thought through. Even the declaration that they wanted to put 30% tax on trustees of trusts, of family trusts, the entity that many hundreds, thousands of businesses run through in this country, wasn't thought through. Because think about who that's going to affect, not just the business itself, but a trust can distribute to a non-for-profit organization, a charity, tax-free, right? Now that's going to hurt the not-for-profit sector who do such great work in our community.
And what's one of the biggest problems in the city at the moment? Homelessness.
Yeah.
All of those sort of systems are all non-for-profit. So if you all of a sudden start taxing them 30%, how many of them do unfold?
It's a massive problem. It's just compounding upon compounding. And so when you look at the slowing down of housing in this country, that's going to affect bank profits as well. So they're going to look at it and go, okay, what can we do that's going to change some of their lending practices? They're going to adjust and pivot there because they still want to make money for their shareholders. But the biggest social problem we've got at the moment is, of course, where can I find a home that's affordable? The cost of living in this country has just gone through the roof. And I don't know how a lot of people are doing it. So you drive past in the suburbs, 7, 8 cars parked out the front because people are co-sharing the rent on that.
Not just that, like you'll have, 50, 60-year-olds with their fully grown adult children with their kids living at home with the grandparents.
Multi-generational living.
Which just never happened in Australia before. So I went for a drive the other day through a suburb in WA called Armidale. It's a lower socioeconomic area, very, very high. But if you have a look at the city as a whole, there's a very high population of investors in there because the rental income, like the rate of return, is actually very, very good. Even when someone trashes a house, the damages isn't that bad. And most of the time you can stop it before it happens. So as an investment side of things, there's a very attractive options for a lot of investors. So I'm driving through. Every time I go past like a strata complex where there's like 10 or more units in there, nearly every single one of them had 4 or 5 for sale signs out the front. The amount of houses that I'm seeing for sale is going through the roof. Now, why is that a bad thing? Because everyone's going, oh, we need to make housing more affordable. You're not making housing more affordable, because what's happening if you take negative gearing away from a house, right? So you have an investor who intentionally has the house negatively geared, right? Rents are low because they get the tax write-offs on the other side, so they can afford to do that. If you take that negative gearing away, all of a sudden money to make up that shortfall has to come from their own pocket or yours as the renter. What's the landlord going to do?
Yeah, out of the
Put the rent straight up to make the property positively geared again. If they can't, then they're going to sell the property, take the equity from that house, and top up all the other mortgages, so they're also positively geared.
Yeah.
So you get a flood of houses onto the market. Yes, that's great, fantastic. House prices come down, but the rental prices will be going up, and then the people who want to save for a house can't because they've got to pay more money on rent.
Yeah.
So this is one of the stupidest ideas that I've ever heard coming from Labor, right up there with communism.
And then you've got Pauline Hanson
Yep.
from One Nation advocating to cap immigration at 130,000 visas per year, wanting to reduce the current levels, which have been above 300,000 for several quarters of people just coming in. Now, this is a big problem because where do these people go? Where do we house them?
Yeah.
How do the hospital systems cope with infrastructure? How do schools handle this influx of
Can
new
I
kids
put
coming
my
in?
political hat on?
Can you
anyway.
remain objective?
Yes. So this is purely, it really frustrates me because, first of all, I'm a firm believer that the immigration levels need to be restrained.
Mhm.
And the reason behind that is we're treating a symptom at this stage. The immigration issue is not the problem. It is a symptom of a much greater problem. It is the mismanagement of the government in preparation for these people coming in is what the master problem is. We know Australia is one of the best countries in the world, and we know everyone wants to come here. So, okay, so if we are going to allow these people in, we need to make sure we've got the schools, we've got the road infrastructure, we've got the hospitals. We need to make sure all of this stuff is ready for them to come in before they get here.
And the jobs.
And the jobs. So when we had the open immigration policy way back in I think it was the 40s, 50s after the World War, we needed the workers, we needed the employment. At the moment, unemployment's really low. I think it's like 4 point something. I haven't checked it for a while. So we don't have the jobs for people to walk into. Like back then, I think we were sitting around the 8-9% unemployment rate. So it were even lower, other way around. We were screaming for workers. And so as they were coming in, they were stepping straight into the job. It was great for them. It was great for the country they came from, and it was great for Australia. At the moment, most of these people that come in, one person will work and then half their family are on welfare. And it's just, it's not a sustainable model. We do not have the infrastructure to keep up with it, but the immigration level is a symptom of a much greater issue, and that's a government mismanagement.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I just wish, that's where I wish people would actually focus more on the core issue here, not the symptom. And
Right.
unfortunately, in this one, it's a very big symptom, but the immigration levels is just a symptom of a much greater issue.
Yep.
So
Stapled with that is the interest rates at the moment, and they've been on hold. How long can we keep them on hold? And that's really interesting as far as the economy is concerned.
it's not going to.
It can't. It can't stay as it is, especially as we march towards the end of the year. And of course,
Christmas.
politically, they like to have a little bit of relief moving forward into that.
You know what's funny? Everything I'm reading, everything all the people I'm talking to. So in a stroke of genius, and I have to say, I think this is a stroke of genius, our downloads for our app has gone up nearly 100%
Great.
in the last 3 weeks.
Fantastic.
I've been doing Uber rideshare. The amount of people I get to talk one-on-one with at night, like drunks coming from the pubs or business people going to the airport, stuff like that, it's so informative. It's probably been one of the biggest eye-openers I've ever had. And yeah, it's a lot of hours, a lot of work, pay is terrible. But the ability to promote Edge to people directly has been phenomenal. The ability, so I met the nephew of the Liberal Party president in WA.
Okay.
So that was really interesting. So hopefully they'll come on board. We'll give them a nice hearing for that one. But the amount of economists, especially out of the city, that I pick up, or people who are tied to the financial markets, real estate people, none of them believe there's going to be they're going to hold the interest rates for much longer. All of them believe before Christmas we're going to have at least 1, 2, possibly 3 interest rate increases, considering there's only 4 months until Christmas? So that's dire warnings for anyone with a mortgage at the moment in Australia. Investors, it's not good. And so one of the arguments that the Reserve Bank uses for having an interest rate increase is, everyone's spending more money, so that's going to push inflation up. They're spending more money is because everything's more expensive. It's not. So this is where I get really, really frustrated with it. You put the interest rates up, you don't cost people their jobs and they don't have to save money, but all you're doing in the short term is you're increasing the amount of money people spend anyway, which is just going to feed inflation even further. I think it's just absolutely stupid, and Australia as a whole needs a better way to deal with it.
Yeah.
So.
So we've got to watch that one going on in terms of consumer debt as well. Where do we sit with that? And if you've got a situation where you've announced that taxes are going to increase, well, guess what? You've got the greatest entrepreneurs leaving the country and saying, you know,
And
I'm going to
it's
go
not
to
hard.
places where it's less tax, there's less red tape. And of course, then you compound the issue. So that's number 4. So we've had the Japanese yen train as number 1, 5 things to watch out for this year. Number 2, housing market slowdown with lending for investors, basically as lower lending applications for properties going forward. The immigration issue is number 3. 4 is interest rates.
So just quickly on that, excuse me, on that one as well. A lot of millionaires are taking their assets offshore. And I think it's really, really important. And I don't want to be seen to be trying to actively hinder the Australian government. We need tax money to make the government run. We need teachers, we need hospitals, we need the police system and all that sort of stuff. But at what point do you say enough's enough? So all I want to say is it's actually a lot easier. And as someone who has gone offshore, it is a lot easier than what people realize it is to go offshore. So please reach out to Derek at Blue Sky Factory, BLUSkyFactory.com. He's got a lot of educational videos on there to teach people on how the financial money system works, how to earn an online income, how to earn income on options, stock options trading, and also in the crypto market as well. So he's got a lot of really great videos. So please do reach out to him. And there will be eventually, I've got the link for the Edge Radio for a referral program. Yeah, we can make money off it. But I just haven't implemented into the system yet. That's on my to-do list.
So what it allows us, what we're teaching people is the skills to make money so that they can go overseas and that sort of stuff and have those options if they want to. If they don't want to, fine.
And I want to do a bit of cross promotion here because you do need to seek your own legal and professional advice on this one. Don't take my opinion for it. It's just what I did worked for me. It may not work for you. So you can go to Derek. He's got his people that you can go to. Also, another sponsor of the station, Jeff from Wealth by Design, also has access to people with really great knowledge about that as well. So reach out to Edge Radio. We can point you in the right direction.
Finally, the Aussie dollar, number 5. The Aussie dollar is slipping. What does that do for markets? So people go, what's that a big deal? Well, there's twofold.
We want a low dollar.
Sorry?
We want a low dollar.
Yes and no. For those who are planning an overseas trip for Christmas this year,
but how can you afford it? You got to pay for the increase in rent.
That's what.
And the interest rate increases.
It makes it just a little bit harder when you go overseas, right? For people who are looking at it that way. However, for those who export goods to overseas, it's fantastic.
Which is
because
a vast majority of our income. Over 40% of it comes from mining.
Right.
And so that's 100% is exported. So
they love that.
Yeah.
And so that boosts profits for them with the dollar that is slipping down. Basically, they have more of it at that rate. So people are more likely to buy from them.
And this is why it's really important to make sure that the royalties are sorted out properly in mining, and also the income tax and corporation tax are sorted out properly, because as the mining does better, because that's our primary earner, our income and our economy gets stronger, gets better conditions for the everyday Australians.
Totally.
So,
the only thing that with mining, I will say there's a big caveat, is sometimes commodity prices. That will shut down a mine. If it goes down, it's just not operational anymore. That's the one you've got to really watch in mining.
So again, on the cost of living with the mining side of things, as the fuel prices go up, because we import all of our fuel, we don't manufacture anything in Australia anymore. That's also another thing that's really going to impact that. But so there's such a big balancing act. And again, sorry, putting my political hat on again, as much as I'd love to see One Nation really give it to Labor and Liberals, I do not think they are ready to lead the country. I'd love to see them get into the opposition. I don't want to see them running the country.
Well, it's still early days, and 6 months is such a long time in politics.
The polling
can change.
The polling, don't forget, we've got the by-election down in Secret Harbour coming up shortly. We've got the New South Wales and Victoria elections coming up shortly as well. And then we're heading into the federal and then the WA election as well. So yes, 6 months is a long time. 6 months ago, they were doing even better. So is this to stay? And I have to tell you now, the amount of people I'm talking into the Uber that are actually very, very pro One Nation is alarming. And it's not just like the knuckle draggers from like Rockingham. We're talking people from Dalkeith, Cottesloe, Scarborough. They've just totally lost faith in the Liberal Party, and there's a big push they want to see One Nation in power. And I'm like, I really don't want to see that. I want to see them in opposition first. Learn to walk before you run. And I think they've got some dues they've got to pay first before they can have the faith to actually run the country. So
there you go. There's a lot happening on the change front. And I think what you've got to realize is that even if you have your own personal finances in play, you've got to pivot. There's a new economy that is, I've been saying emerging. I actually believe it's actually
It's
here.
already
If you
here.
actually
It is
look at the
absolutely
data,
Yep.
it's actually here, and most people aren't seeing it. You're not going to hear it in the mainstream news. Come to get some of our free courses that are available at blueskyfactory.com. We're also going to be holding an event, if I may just promote it.
Yeah, go for it.
It's coming up very, very soon on the early part of September. I'm just trying to find the actual.
While you look for that,
There it is. There it is.
You go, Derek.
Yeah, it's on Thursday, the 3rd of September.
Yep.
And if you want more details on it, it's at the Comfort Hotel in Perth International in Belmont, WA, from 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Grab some tickets, $24.95,
Yep.
not a lot, and just go to our website,
After the show-
blueskyfactory.com. Go to the events
We'll
under
put the
resources.
link in the comment section as well after the show as well. Now, one thing as well. So 3rd of September, very close to Father's Day. I can guarantee you, as a dad myself, I'm very, very stressed about what the economy is doing, income and all that sort of stuff. I think it'd be a great little present for your dad this Father's Day to say, hey, Dad, I know you're stressed over this. How about we come get some knowledge and hopefully demystify some of what's going on as well.
I mean, when you've got the facts, then it takes the emotion out of it, and you can start to build a strategy from there. Going, all right, well, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and this is what I need to do to start moving and make those transitions, those adjustments to where you want to go.
And it's not just that as well, because most people, when they think about finance, they think it's a solo game. They think it's something they have to struggle through themselves. It's not. Having the right people around you, giving you the information that you need to make a very good informed decision is crucial. So a lot of these events, a lot of the people that come to them, they've already done your courses a couple of times, and they're there. A lot of it is to rebuild those connections and as like a refresher course and make sure they haven't strayed down the path which isn't the right way for them. So,
an update. We give a big update as to what's been going since the last time we met. So
you know, one thing I think maybe I can come on board with one of these ones. I'd love to see a real estate show, like a course with you, because the day where you could leave school, get a job or go to university, end up with a really good job, buy like save up deposit, buy a house, get that nearly paid off, then you use the equity in that house to go start buying investment properties. By that stage, you're 45, 50.
Yeah.
That's dead. Like in Australia, that does not exist anymore.
Yeah.
So the way that our family has done it, we've actually looked at investment properties first, get 3 or 4 investment properties, then look at buying a family home. So that's the way we tackled it instead. I think showing people the difference and breaking down the maths for them and understanding how the lenders actually look at doing that, how the real estate's looking at outgoings, costs, potential issues that may come up, like bad tenants, how to deal with that sort of stuff. I think that'd be a really good one as well, because even with everything that's going on in the real estate market, actually, even now, considering that a lot of people, their loan to value ratios might start be putting them into risk, especially if their houses prices coming down. I think that might be actually a really, really good show. Good.
Yeah, we can talk about that further. Absolutely open to that.
So with the people listening online, we do have a comment section when things come through. If you're watching on YouTube or the Edge Radio Facebook page, the comments do come through us. If you're doing it through our personal pages, they don't show up. So send us some messages. We do go through them later on, and we will answer any questions that might pop up for you. So anyway, is that about it? I think we covered
That's the 5. The interest rates was the 4th one, and the 5th one, the Aussie dollar slipping. So Japanese yen trade, housing market slowdown, lending, investors aren't lending or applying for loans as much as they used to, immigration, interest rates, and the Aussie dollar slipping.
Perfect.
Yeah, that sums it up.
The good news is we always get told to keep it under 25 minutes. We're at 28 and a half minutes, nearly 29. So let's call this one a wrap. Derek, once again, thank you very much for coming onto the show. This is Edge Radio Australia. You can look up Derek at blueskyfactory.com, or is it info@blueskyfactory.com for the email?
Yeah, you can do that.
Or you can just get it off his website anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah. And by the way, the new website looks sexy as hell. So it's good. All right. Anyway, guys, this is us. We're wrapping up. And if you've got any questions, please reach out to the studio or to Derek direct. Thanks.